In today's video, I'm going to take a look at how to be a better medic. This is a video that a lot of players could do with watching, and even if you are the best medic in the world, there might be some tips in here that you haven't picked up on. Also, you might have some extra things that you want to leave down in the comments. If that's the case, feel free to do so down below. So as we all know, the medic class is a very popular class in the Battlefield franchise. However, in Battlefield 1, it has started to be slightly less popular because of the type of weapons you have to use. That being said, over the course of a year or so, people have started to play it more. I've got some figures on screen now of the amount of people playing the medic class as of making this video. Now for me, I think people started to get used to the sort of weapons and the sort of gunplay that Battlefield 1 had. When the game first came out, everyone wanted to play it like it was BF4, so everyone was looking at the assault class and weapons like the Automatico, the MP18 and the Hellriegel. Now with the medic class, you do have the option to pick up some automatic guns like the Fedorov, and you can also take some longer range and some closer range weapons, and people got used to this and people started running the class a whole lot more. You also have the option to take a medical syringe, a bandage pouch, a medical crate, and you can also take some explosives if that's what takes your fancy. Of course, you get the full selection of grenades and sidearms, etc, etc. Now there are of course different things you need to consider when playing the medic class, and let's start out with range. You can take a whole load of different weapons. You can pick the Selbstlader M1916 Marksman and go for some long range shooting, or you could of course pick a closer range variant of the gun and go with the optical. You could choose to go very close range with an 8.25 or a Fedorov Aftermath Factory, or of course you could go mid-range with a Farquhar Hill Optical, a gun that will do pretty much everything that you can think of. You could choose to go with any of the M1907 variants, you could choose to go with the autoloading 8.35, Marksman or the Factory. There are so many different weapons you can pick from, and the trick is to work out what sort of gameplay are you going to be looking for. Are you the sort of guy that likes to sit on an objective right in the middle of the action? In that case, you want to be running with the 8.25 or something that is decent for closer ranges. Are you somebody that's going to be shooting at range, almost like a sniper, but of course you're in the medic class, then maybe the Selbstlader M1916 Marksman is the weapon for you. Are you somebody with incredibly good aim, then maybe you want to be running with the RSC 1917 Factory or the autoloading 8.35 Factory or Marksman. There's a lot of different stuff you need to consider before picking your weapon. You can't just go, this is the best medic weapon, let's just pick it. When looking at the most used guns in the medic class, there are four main contenders that stand out from the rest. You have the Fedorov Aftermath Trench at number 1, which is impressive as it is a DLC weapon. You then have the M1907 SL Sweeper in second place. Then you have the autoloading 8.25 Extended, and finally the Selbstlader M1916 Marksman. Right there you have four very different weapons. Useful to know that they're the top four. I've included a link in the description if you are looking to check out this in slightly more detail. Now funnily enough, I would expect a lot more people to take the 8.35 Marksman, as it is hailed as one of the best guns on the game. However, I think it's a very difficult weapon to use, and especially with the TTK changes coming up in this January update, people are going to see a big difference to the weapons in the medic class, and it could be very nice for a few of you that are maybe hoping to see the Automatico and the Hellriegel maybe changed a little bit, and then the medic class become a little stronger. When looking at time spent with the weapons, it is very similar to the amount of kills people get. Again, the top four are the Fedorov Aftermath Trench, the Selbstlader M1916 Marksman, the M1907 SL Sweeper, and the autoloading 8.25 Extended. Four weapons, again, that I think you should all try out. Now another tip in the medic class, always run with the medical syringe and the medical pouch. What you want to be doing is keeping your team alive. That's the whole point of running in the medic class. If you're looking to take an explosive grenade and cause as much damage to the enemy as possible, then run in the assault class and do it properly. Run in the support class and take a crossbow launcher instead. Take the ammo pouch and then you can resupply your team as well. I know you can't bring yourself back up to full HP because you don't have the medical supplies, but if you're running in a squad or a team, somebody will do that for you. Another additional tip, but something that takes a little bit more skill in order to implement, and of course is quite difficult to do in Battlefield 1, is switching out to a medic kit when you see a medic die, and then reviving them, switching back to your original kit afterwards. You saw it at the start of this video. That's something that you can do every so often, and not many people actually consider doing. It's very tricky to do sometimes because in BF1 the kits get thrown away from the dead soldier, and in BF4 quite often they'd be kept on the soldier. It was a lot easier to do. In BF1 it's more difficult, so you can't always do it, but sometimes it is an option, and if it is, you can bring back maybe 2 or 3 players Not much effort, you get some more points yourself. Very easy to do if it's in the right situation. Definitely try it out if you can. Another tip in the medic class that a lot of people seem to miss. Running with the medical crate is actually a hindrance to your own playstyle. If you run with the pouch, you can keep yourself alive, and you can also heal while on the move. The crate, you have to be standing on top of it. These are all obvious things. Something that people forget though, is that you will not heal and your teammates will not heal when standing on a medical crate if you are under suppression. You cannot heal at all. So running with a pouch is more important, especially if you're in a position where you're not in very much cover at all and you're under fire. You can also frisbee the pouches very far to distant teammates. You can see in the background I've got some examples of this. You can throw the pouches just by clicking Q on your keyboard if you don't even want to throw one and switch to it. You can throw them very far and is useful for keeping your team up to full HP. When running in the medic class, it's very important to make sure you keep players alive. That's a given. But it's also very important to make sure you don't die just because you want to get a quick revive on somebody. How many times have you been revived by someone only to die instantly because they haven't really checked what's going on? They've just seen, oh look, a free set of points, let me revive this person, get myself some points on the board, and that's the end of it. When in fact, they revive you, and then you both die, and then you're both worse off. A better tactic would be to not revive me, to wait behind cover, and then of course I can respawn back onto you. Then we're both alive. I've died, I've ruined my KD a little bit, but I'm not really too bothered because at least we're both back in the game instead of us both dying. A lot of people don't see this as a real problem in the game. A lot of people don't see it as a tactic that you want to avoid. Nonetheless, it's definitely one you should bear in mind. Don't make silly mistakes and try and revive players that are definitely not going to stay alive for more than half a second. A nice tip when it does come to reviving another player is to slide in and revive them in one swift movement. You can see this in the background. The reason I do this is because it makes me harder to hit, as when you're reviving you can't actually shoot back because you don't have your primary or secondary weapon out. You're running with a medical syringe. And what I tend to do is sprint at the player I want to revive with my primary weapon out. I slide in with that knee slide animation, I switch to my medical syringe, and then I revive the player. Quite often it doesn't even show the animation because I'm doing it so quickly, but it is the most efficient way to revive somebody. What you don't want to be doing is walking up to a player who needs reviving, standing on top of them, switching through your gadgets, trying to work out how to revive them. You're just standing still and you're probably going to get sniped. If I've just been killed in that position, it's obviously not behind cover, and I'm obviously not safe. Sliding in and being as fast about it as possible is very important, and if you're running as the ultimate medic, it's important to take smoke also, because you can throw that down and then you can set to work reviving your team. Here's another tip. Stay with your teammates. It's very, very difficult to revive and heal your team if you're nowhere near them. This goes for solo players mainly. If you're in a squad, you tend to hang out with your team anyway, but if you're running away from the whole pack of your team, you're running away on a solo flank, then it might not be the best idea because you can't actually heal or revive anybody. If this isn't something you really want to do, you don't want to be hanging around with the rest of your team, maybe you could run as a different class, because sometimes the assault class will be better at flanking, or the support class will be better at flanking than the medic class is. Maybe you want to be running as that instead of a medic if you're playing solo. The final two tips that I've kind of mentioned today, but they are the most important. There's never any excuse to not heal your squad, and there's never any excuse to not keep yourself up to 100% HP as well. Many medics I see are running around on low HP. There's no excuse for that. You need to keep yourself medded up. You get loads of medic pouches. Just get into a habit of throwing them on the floor and throwing them to teammates. This will improve your KD ratio, it will improve your score, and it will improve the chances of your team staying on an objective. As I mentioned before, you do have excuses when it comes to reviving. You need to pick the revives that are going to actually result in you both staying alive. Pick the ones that have a good chance of success. If you are going to be killed, don't run out into the open and revive somebody. It's just not a smart move at all. As a non-medic, it's very important to make sure you do two things. First of all, make sure that you don't skip revives. Never skip at all until you reach the point where if you do skip, you go straight back to the spawn screen and can spawn back in. There's no point in skipping early, it makes absolutely no sense. Also, try and give as much information to your teammates if you're on comms, maybe in the chat box if you have time. Let them know how many people are on your body, because of course you get to see that. If you got sniped in the distance and if the medic's going to come and pick you up and it's going to result in them getting sniped, just let them know. This is for mainly people on PC. You can let them know in the chat box. I do it as much as I can. It's quite important. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like down below. Let me know any extra tactics that I've missed down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.